Coming up, we have just watched the Thunderbolts. We have a full non-spoiler and spoiler-heavy review ahead. This is the Sacred Rewatch. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Rewatch, brought to you by Effortless Expeditions, a Disney-centered travel agency. Here to help you plan your next Disney vacation. Contact us today for a free, no-obligation quote. Wherever the destination is, they make it truly effortless. My name is Ethan Bronson. I am your host for today. We've got a great episode. We've just watched the Thunderbolts. I'm joined by Wyatt.
How's it going, guys? We're finally here in person at a real desk.
We are. I'm super excited for it. I've actually seen Thunderbolts twice now. I watched it on Thursday night at around 7 o'clock, and then I watched it again last night with Wyatt. I have a video that I'm going to play right now. Just kind of giving my thoughts before I even saw it the first time, and then we can kind of talk about it. So here you go.
What's going on, everybody? I thought I would record my thoughts before I saw the movie tonight on opening night, Thursday. I'm really excited for this movie, not only because it's a team-up movie, but this is really the first team-up movie in the MCU that's not the Avengers, right? You have Civil War, but that's still a Captain America title. You have Eternals, which is, I wouldn't really say a team-up as it is just a team movie in itself, but I'm super excited for this movie. It's got that A24 concept to it. I'm not really sure how this leads into Avengers Doomsday, especially after getting all the chair reveal for Doomsday. I think it's going to be a good movie, but I just don't know how this really pushes the MCU forward. It may in the street level, but I'm super excited. I'll see you guys. I think we'll be recording an episode on Saturday, so I'll see you guys then.
All right. So it is Saturday. We're here. As we were watching the video, Wyatt nudged to me, said that Guardians of the Galaxy exists. She is true.
It's only the second best trilogy in the MCU that features a team up.
It's kind of a forgettable movie, but I think I was pleasantly surprised by the whole movie. We're going to try to keep spoiler free here. At first, sorry. I was really pleased with how the movie turned out, and it's hard to give a review without spoiling the movie, but I think in it by itself, it's a great movie. This is very much a Yelena movie. I don't know if you agree with me, but
I 100% agree. She's the first character you see in the opening scene. The story definitely follows Yelena's kind of like emotional weight the whole time.
Yeah.
She seems like the emotional anchor for this team. It all kind of revolves around her.
Yeah.
I guess her family is her dad. These are her people she kind of runs into at the start of the movie and has to kind of get them together to form the team. Without getting any spoilers, I would say it does really well for these characters we haven't really seen a lot of outside of their like side character kind of villain roles. Mm-hmm. And it does, I would say, this isn't much of a spoiler because we all saw the Doomsday chairs. We know many of these characters are confirmed to be in Doomsday. And I think at the end of this movie, you're very excited to see them in Doomsday. Like, I won't give away much yet, but like, I can't wait to see where these guys go next. I'm very excited to see what they do to John Walker, what they do with Yelena, what they do with Bucky's character in Doomsday. I think it sets him up to be really a huge part of that movie.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the last non-spoiler thought I'll give on it. I think they did a fantastic job of weaving in street level with the grand scheme of the MCU, right? I feel like a lot of movies these days regarding the MCU have a really hard time of keeping it street level, or they just avoid being street level at all and they just go to these grand multiverse concepts. This is still a street level movie to me, in my opinion.
Every Marvel movie that I can think of post Endgame, every character is fighting these grandiose beings from outer space, or the Eternals are fighting what are they called?
Celestials.
The Celestials, these giant beings from space. And Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, he's jumping through different universes.
Yeah.
Which it was really refreshing to see this grounded take on these heroes, like the ground level, like you mentioned. Outside of Super Soldier Serum, no one in this group is really special. Like, yeah, Ghost has her sort of powers, but they're not really anything crazy. They're very limited, which I think this group does very well at, and the movie does very well too, is you feel they are very much outmatched in every fight they're in. It makes sense because you're going against the Century. Like, it's a character that's known for being strong, powerful. I remember a lot of the trailers and stuff, people wanted to see the Thunderbolts get their ass kicked because, they realistically should. And I think the movie did a great job at showing their street levelness and how they were situated for underperformed for a century. Like they weren't ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we can't talk much longer without giving out a spoiler.
I agree.
So, I'll let you go. I'm going to count to 3, and you're going to name the biggest satisfactory thing that you found that's a spoiler.
Okay.
All right, we'll go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Taskmaster is dead. Dead as dirt.
So, yeah, Taskmaster died. I think I saw a fact come out that she was on screen for a total of 6 minutes before she was shot.
I do not believe that. I
Had to
think
have been less.
I don't even think it was a minute.
I
She
don't know.
shows up. I actually, in the car ride going to this movie, I told you this.
Yeah.
I was like, she's not in any of the promotional images outside of the poster and that one fight scene we see in the trailer.
Well, and the
which
other
is her one fight scene in the movie before Ghost just pops her in the head.
Well, and the other thing that you told me that they revealed, which I didn't even catch to, was the chair reveal that she wasn't included.
In the chairs. The
Everybody else
actress,
was.
I blank out on her name. I saw it this morning, but the actress for Taskmaster was the only one in this movie out of like the core Thunderbolts group, or should I call them the New Avengers?
Yeah, we're on the spoiler part.
The
now,
New
so-
Avengers that are going to be in Doomsday. So I mean, I don't know. Fans hated her character after Black Widow, and whether this is them being like, here's a chance to bring in, I can't remember the name of the original Taskmaster, like the one that all the fans want to see.
Oh, from the comics.
Yeah, I don't know. This is their opportunity. Hey, well, now there's this Taskmaster to bring in. I kind of hope he's just done.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much going on, and there's going to be so much more going on after Doomsday. There's no room for Taskmaster.
Well, and to me, this is kind of the biggest gripe that I have that I'll talk about this. And we're going to try to just talk about, surface level things because we will be reviewing this once we get to our Sacred Rewatch. I want to say it will probably be about April of 2026. So we're reviewing this in May.
So
April
a year.
or March. Close to a year, we'll be back reviewing this with the larger group, or maybe it is just the two of us.
Maybe by then it'll just be the
I don't know.
two of us
I don't know who's going to survive.
back at this desk.
But I've seen some of the comments people are talking about, and they're saying, "Oh, John Walker was so much better in this movie. Ghost was so much better in this movie than the individual product they were a part." Those characters are so underappreciated for the projects that they originated from.
I agree. John Walker, to me, is one of the most underappreciated characters
100%.
in his show. At least, like he comes out in that show, and he's viewed really as a bad person, like a bad guy. But like he's really, when you think about it, he's just a U.S. Army vet who now is not a super soldier at the start of Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's just
He's an extremely decorated veteran.
and now you're Captain America. And he obviously he's a very flawed human being, which Steve Rogers was a perfect person.
Yeah.
Obviously, the John Walker has a lot of flaws, which fuel him only more to want that Captain America serum, which he takes at some point in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And they even commented in this movie, the killing an innocent man in the streets. They just killed his best friend, and he ran after him. I think obviously you're Captain America, but in all things given, I think it was pretty valid on John Walker's part. Like, it's not like he really did kill an innocent person. This person was part of a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
So, I get that John Walker really does fit the whole Thunderbolts idea, which is, this model is kind of like the Suicide Squad from DC. It's this group of villains coming together and doing some good things. And I really think that this movie really does do a great job at showing that they're really not villains. And I think what a lot of people complain about in Brave New World, which I haven't actually seen, but you have seen, I saw it all over TikTok. They gave it this sort of "this isn't you" ending, where the whole ending is this big, bad, strong, bad guy simply gets talked down to where back to like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Which I haven't seen Brave New World. I can understand why it comes off somewhat cheapish in Brave New World, but I feel like in Thunderbolts it works very well because your whole movie is built upon emotions and connecting with each other and this feeling of everyone feeling so alone that they feel connected together.
Yeah.
So at the end, when they kind of talk the century or the void out of it, you don't feel underwhelmed like, oh, there was no fight. You get the vibe. It didn't need to have a fight. No. This movie wasn't about their big fight at the end. It was more about the emotions in each other and forming this team.
Well, and to me, that's super surprising because for me going in, and I feel like even Marvel fans as a whole, everybody was saying this is going to be a super gritty movie. Like, this is going to be the Dark Avengers. And I came away not thinking any of that, but not in a bad way. I thought it was extremely creative movie to put those characters together. And yeah, these are the villains or anti-heroes. I guess even your Avengers at this point.
The new Avengers.
But I thought it was an extremely creative movie because after watching Brave New World, I was like, they're just going to do the same thing again. They're going to talk down to the villain, and he's finally going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry for what I did. But
Which an issue you're going to run into a lot when you're pairing up your somewhat underpowered individuals against these very strong people.
Yeah.
Like like choosing Captain America, which is Sam Wilson's Captain America with no super soldier serum, to go against the Red Hulk is a very daunting task for your first movie. Like really, I feel like they shot themselves. I know we're not talking. I know this episode's not about Brave New World, but in a scenario like that, you shoot yourself in the foot because you either have a cheap ending where Sam wins and he just beats up the Hulk, and the Red Hulk then seems like he's nothing.
Yeah.
Or you have this fight where he talks people down and everyone complains. But I do the Thunderbolts. It makes sense. You don't want them to fight the Sentry. You know they're going to die.
yeah. Well, and I want to try to keep some of the conversation more surface level stuff because when we revisit this, there is going to be great integration because we will have just watched Brave New World at that point. But let's talk a little bit about the Suicide Squad comparison because I feel like everybody thought that this was the kind of movie that it's going to be. I've seen the newest rendition of the Suicide Squad, not the older one.
You saw the one with like Idris Elba and
Yes.
Okay, John Cena. That one's good. That's a good movie.
I think they both do a really good job of it being individual, like, bad teams. But I feel like two different approaches to
I 100% agree.
I don't know. Do you have any more thought on the Suicide Squad?
I think Suicide Squad 100% feels like a group of bad guys who are working for the government to earn time off. Like there's no morale. Like they have bombs in their head to blow up. They break orders. There's no morality holding them in line. They don't. At the end of the day, they really don't care for each other because these are bad people. And DC always has done much more black and white in terms of their heroes and villains.
Yeah.
Marvel's always kind of had that gray area where there is moral dilemmas, which I think is interesting. DC's very much bad guy, good guy. So in Suicide Squad, these are bad people who are working for the government because they have to or they'll die to earn freedom.
Yeah.
But I think what Thunderbolts did great is it really does feel like these aren't a group of team who are forced to come together. It's really like they all seemingly wanted. This is all what they wanted. Like you get the vibe that Yelena, all she wants is a team and her family to work with again.
Well,
and John Walker, you get the vibe that they're all so alone and they're choosing to be together. These people don't want to be bad guys. In Suicide Squad, sorry to interrupt, but you have Harley Quinn who wants to be a bad person, who wants to blow up schools and rob banks. I think what Thunderbolts did great is you have Ghost, who is from the very beginning of her life almost forced into this life of crime and stealing, had no choice. Same with Yelena, no choice, the Red Room. John Walker, seemingly, you get the vibe he's trying to make up for what he's done. He is just a flawed person at his core. He's no Steve Rogers. So I think this is a great job of really feeling that there is a lot more morality in these individuals. They do care. They want to do the right thing.
Yeah, and I would maybe say that for these characters, I don't think it's as much they want to be a part of a team as, like, specifically Yelena. She's just trying to find purpose, right?
I agree.
And I think that was a great way to, like, go from her point of view. Because I kind of told you before you watched the movie, like, just fair warning, because I don't think I really prepared to, like, for this to be a Yelena movie. And would you agree that this is a Yelena movie?
100%. That opening scene where she's doing a normal job and she's fighting those guys in the elevator, that scene, like, this was a perfect Black Widow right here. Like, I think the vibe that they're taking with Yelena's Black Widow, and I think it really does, is like it comes at a time where the characters are a lot less sexualized in Marvel, and I think that's very evident in Yelena's Black Widow compared to Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. And that's just the time we're in nowadays. It's like she just feels like a refreshing, super badass agent. Like there's nothing about her. She's just beat these guys.
Well, and I think what's super cool about this, when we're reviewing this, when it came out, right, we've just watched Captain Marvel, so we've seen Marvel's first attempt of a standalone female character, and we are just two white guys standing up here talking about female characters' roles. But, like, if you would have said after this movie, there's going to be a Black Widow movie and it's going to be solely about Yelena, I'd be all in.
100%. I want that. Like, that would be awesome. There's that, again, without watching the movie, if you guys haven't watched it, the shadows play a huge role in this movie, and even in the opening scene when she's fighting. you're not really watching her fight. It's this bird's eye view of this hallway scene. You're watching the shadows. Like the shadows are the whole fight scene is portrayed by these shadows because you can't really see what's going on here, but the shadows paint this perfect image. And I don't know, just I think it fits the whole vibe of the movie because, like you said, it was talked about being this dark, gritty Avengers, which the tone is very dark and heavy. Like the whole movie overcast, very glum, dark, sad, but not so much brutal and like brooding kind of darkness. Very much just like a sad, depressing darkness, which matches the characters very well.
Speaking of dark, I think too how this recap video is going to compare to when we do ours in the future. I don't know, but for me, when I was watching it in theaters, like this is a super dark movie, like visually, and it's super cool to see in theaters. I'm very curious on how easy it's going to be to watch on a TV.
I agree. I think it's going to be super glare and just annoying darkness the whole time. Definitely a nighttime movie. The theater it felt great in the theater. Like we talked about the thing with the void. So every time the void or the Bob was on scene, he would talk, and as he more started approaching the void, there's loud kind of like humming static would just play. And at first, I didn't really know what it was. I asked him if it was supposed to be there because he saw it earlier.
Yeah.
And we kind of thought it was just the furnace from the scene where the fire comes down. But then you notice throughout the movie, it was just picking up. I don't know. It's just one of those touches that I love in movies, being able to use sound to kind of like create that anxiety feeling as you see Bob kind of like this darkness rising in him. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. I didn't recognize that when I first watched the movie just because I think that I was in a kind of a poor quality movie theater, so I couldn't really like catch on.
You didn't have the Dolby Atmos.
No, we
last
didn't
night.
have that. But I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts? We're going to recap this again in a year. So for you guys watching right now, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching, going back to this video.
One thing I think I did see a lot of people on TikTok complaining about Bucky's character in this, like the size he had,
got to talk about
the size he had or the role he had, and I actually thought it was really great because this is not a Bucky movie.
No,
it's not. I don't need to see Bucky's. This is not about Bucky's grief. Bucky's feeling bad for what he did. We already saw that. We saw that in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you get that in that little I think a little throwaway line where he shows up after they all got out of like their dark trauma rooms, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my life's great. I had nothing to worry about."
That was probably the best.
It's funny, but I also think it's more of Bucky's. He's over it. Like I would have loved a scene where like Bucky wakes up in this room and he's confronting the Winter Soldier and he's not afraid. Like he just kind of gives him this. I'm not like it wasn't my fault, dude. Like I'm happy. I've fulfilled. It wasn't my fault the things I did. I'm not afraid of you. And he would just kind of walk past all that because he has dealt with his trauma. It's not about this movie wasn't about his trauma, and I liked that he really was just this kind of like he was a MacGuffin character. That's really all he was.
Yeah,
he kept the plot moving.
And what makes me really happy about that is that we've seen many Marvel movies in the past where the directors they haven't cared about what's happened in the past. So the director of this movie really had to go watch Falcon and Winter Soldier and see that whole arc development. Because if he was just going to treat him like every other character, they would have just thrown, "Hey, Bucky's got this terrible life." But if you saw the TV show, you knew that he got through all of that. So I'm very happy that they
very much treat him as this kind of beacon of hope for the other characters. Like, oh, you can do bad things and you can redeem yourself. Like you can still be a hero at the end, which all these characters want. And even like Ghost doesn't really say. You see her actions at the beginning where she keeps coming back for him. Like 3 times they think Ghost has gone off and ran away and left them to die, and every single time she comes back. All of these characters want to be a team. They want to do good things. They all come from good paths, except for Yelena growing up in the Red Room. That's not really her fault.
Yeah,
she still came from a good situation. Like her family, they're not real family, correct? I haven't seen the Black Widow movie in a long time.
Black Widow?
Yeah,
no, they're not.
They're like adopted, like placement. They're all placed together as agents. They do care for each other, though. You get that vibe in Black Widow that Yelena did. The only thing that sucks is they do try to, I guess, pull on the heartstrings of Yelena missing Natasha too often. It just sucks because we never saw them interact as characters until Natasha was already dead.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really feel for a relationship we never knew existed. But I do think that they're doing a good job at trying it. And I think she is definitely the strongest one of the strongest characters post Endgame, who's been introduced and fledged out their backstory for sure.
And I think this because I think for me, I was very confused on why they decided to make a Black Widow movie when they did.
I agree. 100%.
Natasha was already dead. And for me, I thought the immediate justification was, they're just trying to run this Yelena plot line that they did through Hawkeye, which was good. I did enjoy it. But like this feels like it fully justifies making that movie. Because I would have loved the Black Widow movie earlier, but
Are they walking back here?
I don't know.
I was gonna wait to see what I say. What are you doing? Okay, fuck. What was I gonna say? Oh man. Oh, I think they do a really good job. Yelena and Red Guardian are two of the very best parts of this movie. That scene under the little underway where she just kind of opens up about her emotions, it's very real. Like, it feels like a very real scene. And I think it's just, I'm very excited to see them going forward in the MCU.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the post-credit scene?
Yeah.
Okay. Post-credit scene. So at the end of the movie,
The Wheaties.
at the end of the movie, they're gonna go capture Valentina De Fontaine. I think I said that right. And she pretty much like tricks them into this big press conference where she reveals them as we've been referencing the whole episode, the new Avengers.
Yeah.
I actually like it a lot.
I did
Very
too.
much caught me off guard, but I'm very excited for it.
And I feel like they totally could have teased it earlier in the movie, but like watching it a second time, you can kind of see Valentina. There's a moment of realization in the movie that she realized maybe these are the people that I want to be the new Avengers. Because at first she just wants Sentry to be that guy, right? But there's a moment in the movie when you rewatch it again. I want you to see it because it's very distinct. She realizes, oh, I want them to be the team and put me in the spotlight. And I'm shocked Valentina survived this movie. I thought she was gonna be killed for sure.
I did kind of think this she was going to get killed by the Sentry, just because it's such an overdone trope.
Yeah.
You create this perfect being, and then they kill you because you're imperfect, and they're so much better than you. We've seen it 1,000 times.
I feel like too, like she's popped up so many times now, and her character never seemed like she was gonna have this long.
We never really knew what she was.
No, but we really didn't get an
She
answer.
had anything to do with the CIA until this movie.
Well, if you watch Wakanda Forever, did you watch?
I did. I saw when it came out in theaters.
So in Wakanda Forever, you finally get that deep dive into that character. So at that point, you already knew. But like going back to Hawkeye, there was one other project too that she popped up in. I'm trying to remember what it was. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Yes. That's where she first.
That was the first kind of tease of the Dark Avengers. Is she recruits John Walker at the end.
Yeah. So I mean,
so at the end of this post-credit scene, they're in their new Avengers tower. But then there's that reference to Sam also wanting to build his new Avengers. So I think that's also kind of just Marvel's way of saying there could be two groups of Avengers going on. Like you could have Sam Wilson and his people, and this group would do whatever.
And Sam and Bucky, it seems like they kind of had a
seems like they're having some emotional relationship problems.
I think
which really makes me sad for my favorite bromance in the MCU.
I think it's super interesting too that, we're really diving deep here. They're talking about Sam. He filed for copyright on the Avengers.
I know.
Like it seems like such a
Sort of
weird thing for Sam Wilson to do, you know? But I mean, Fantastic Four popping up. I got goosebumps.
The big reveal. There's something going on in space, and the interdimensional ship breaks through, and you all know what it is. It's the Fantastic Four, which we had a lot of questions. Made us have a lot of questions about the Fantastic Four movie because I was always under the impression that it was going to end with them jumping ship to our Earth.
Yeah.
Now I get the vibe that it might be a little sooner in the movie. If we already know that they're coming here, we've already seen them come. We already know they're on our Earth timeline wise.
Yeah.
Like we know that they're going to end up here. I might think maybe we see them a little earlier in the movie, in like the last 30 minutes, which I would love. I thought it'd be the end credits of Fantastic Four, be them interacting with Earth.
To me, I thought when it first ended, I was like, that answered all my questions I had on Fantastic Four. But now that I think about it, it actually makes me ask even more questions. At first, I thought, they're probably going to lose to Galactus. But if they're going to come halfway through the movie, that doesn't really seem like they're going to lose. They might just escape. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they could defeat Galactus, and then the incursion happens at the end, and them jumping over is another. I think what they're going to do for the incursion is I think we might just see like the timeline's been slowly breaking this whole time, like Loki mentioned. So all of it at once is going to cause the incursion. Like we've this Earth. I know we're on Earth 616, whatever we're supposed to be considered.
According to Doctor Strange, we're 616, but
Earth 616 is just they've been destroying the timeline, and now it's time for them to get the repercussions.
1099.9.
Yeah, so I think maybe we'll see that in Fantastic Four, which would be exciting.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No,
we're gonna revisit. We're gonna revisit this in about 10 months.
It's just smaller plot reasons. Yeah. I would 100% recommend go see Thunderbolts / New Avengers.
Yeah,
great movie.
I've seen it twice now, and I couldn't recommend it again to go see it again. So,
where would you rank it in terms of MCU movies post Endgame?
Oh, post Endgame, this is only top 5 for sure.
I would say it's top 2, and the only one that really comes close to it is Guardians of the Galaxy. I think this really does. Spider-Man No Way Home after your second launch isn't fantastic. Whereas I think just Guardians 3 and this movie are such good movies, and it's very refreshing to see after what I would consider some pretty crappy runs in terms of like Ant-Man and the Eternals. It's very nice to be excited for once. Like we have our new team with the Avengers. We know the Fantastic Four is coming. Like I'm very excited for where all this goes in Doomsday. I think Thunderbolts set up Fantastic Four and Doomsday a lot better than it was really people thought it would.
Yeah.
No one I think thought this would be a bigger movie going into Doomsday. But now I think if you watch Doomsday, you're not gonna. If you don't watch Thunderbolts, you're gonna be so confused on Doomsday and why there's this Avengers team. Who's the Sentry? Who's Bob? Why is Yelena and Red Guardian running the Avengers?
Yeah, I think my last thought about that too is like, it does introduce a very interesting concept that there's two Avengers going on,
Mm-hmm.
and to me though, it still feels like they're going to resolve that pretty quickly in the movie.
I think so too.
It just seems like an unnecessary hurdle that they're going to have to kind of go around, because Doomsday to me feels very much like an X-Men versus Avengers movie.
Yeah, honestly, it might just be Marvel's way of, instead of having to gather 50 people to fight in your team up wars, you have one team here and one team here.
Yeah.
They just say, hey, we'll just join forces. You don't have to deal with grabbing everyone. Everyone's already kind of congregated within these two groups.
Yeah.
You have your Sam Wilson Avengers and then your government Avengers.
Sounds good. Well, if you like this video or like any of the other content that we have, please subscribe right here. Yeah, I don't have my normal script that I do for.
Make sure to check out the E-Ticket Talk.
Yeah,
releasing on Saturdays.
Yeah, we're still getting the date out there, but yeah, just check out that content. We've got the Sacred Rewatch. You'll see at the end of this video where you can watch that from the beginning. But yeah, wherever you are in your journey of the rewatch, thank you for making the Sacred Rewatch part of your journey. Thank you guys. See you guys.
Bye guys.